Good afternoon and welcome to the quarterly colorectal cancer learning collaborative. We have 4 speakers today who are going to present a variety of information to us. This is an informal opportunity to learn what different clinics are doing across the state to implement evidence-based interventions for colorectal cancer screening. So first up, we will have Sarah Romeo. Sarah is a nurse navigator at Falls Community Health. She's been in that position since 2016, and she works diligently with the Falls Community Health staff to encourage and implement screening for patients 45 to 75 and those at increased risk. Navigation that she provides includes education, reduction of barriers, continuous yearly screening, referring and following through with colonoscopy appointments, and researching funding for colonoscopies for their patient. And just recently, they have implemented a return in 1 week sticker for their IFOBs, and she'll be discussing that. And then we will have Jacinta Scott, who is a medical science liaison for Exact Sciences. Jacinta supports healthcare providers and clinic staff by providing educational information, up-to-date evidence, and review of publications relating to colorectal cancer screening and Cologuard. And then Phil Pruitt is a strategic account manager for Exact Sciences. Phil's responsible for forming partnerships with health systems and academic institutions to support screening initiatives, monitoring compliance, and providing patient-specific reporting. And then last but not least, we'll have Kirsten Bickett, and Kirsten is the nurse care manager at the Sanford Vermillion Clinic. So I will go ahead and turn it over to you, Sarah.
Perfect, thank you. Let's see here. All right, welcome everybody. As Brooke mentioned, I am the colon cancer navigator here at Falls Community Health. I think I'm going on to my 7th year, so pretty crazy, but time flies when you're having fun and when you're testing poop. So, okay, so as you can see, we are discussing the return kit in 1 week. This is a new process that we implemented here at Falls Community Health. These are the IFOBT samples from HemoSure, and we place that bright, bold sticker on every kit before they go to the patient. We kind of were just looking for some different ways to maybe get people to return their kits, and this was an idea, and we have seen some great results. So I did put a couple graphs together just to kind of give you a little more familiarity of the last year's. Our statistics in 21 for March, April, and May. We started this year, 2022 in February, so I just kind of chose these 3 months because they had the most data. And as you can see on the graph, the total of kits that were given out is the light blue. So as you can see there, the returned is the dark blue. And then those that returned, the amount that were returned within 1 week. Now, I know that we run into weekends and holidays, so I have been kind of tracking my data as a 10-day course. Just because a lot of times they fall over that weekend and they're a couple days behind, but they really would have been in that 7-day time frame. So we're going with 1 week, but I kind of want to adjust it on 10 days. So as you can see here, we didn't do terrible last year. A lot of COVID kind of played a part in that. And I looked at the percentage rate of those returned. So of those in 2021, let me just look at my listings here. So we had a return rate of 57% in March, and of those, 46% were returned within that 1 week time frame. So we can see here the various numbers. It really ranged around that 40 to 50% looks like. So this is prior to initiating that sticker. And then we've moved to 2022. So we still did the time frame of March, April, May. Mind you that we just started in February. The total kits handed out were those light blue, the 46, 21, and 44. And then you can see our return kits, and then those that were within that 1 week time frame. So of course we have different numbers across the board, but I think the next graph shows it the best that our return percentage rate has greatly increased. Oh, you know, I'm sorry, yes. So this is the comparison of those of 21 and 22. So as you can see, the first two lines are your returns from 21 and 22. And then the last two lines are the return rate of the weeks within the week one, if that makes any sense. So mainly looking at the green numbers, you can see that the percentage of return has greatly increased over that 60%. So we can definitely see that sticker is helping quite a bit with that return rate and getting them back in within that 1 week time frame. Excuse me. Just a couple of benefits to adding that sticker. Our 1 week return rate has increased, or overall return rate has also increased. It's a great visual reminder to return those kits. A lot of people just put it, we recommend them to put it on their back of their toilet so they can see it every time they're going to have a bowel movement. So it's easy to spot. If it gets lost in the mail, they're seeing that sticker and knowing, oh yes, I need to return it in 1 week, and this is my kit to return to the clinic. So we've found some great benefits of that. Also sets that time frame. We just kind of encourage the patient to return it, but now having that sticker on it gives them a deadline. And then I feel like that's why our return rates are also increasing, is because they may see it's like, oh shoot, I missed the 1 week, I better get that in. So we're seeing great benefit from that sticker. And then I just wanted to note that it is a minimal cost for innovation. We just print them on a label sheet and pop them on the kits, and then they are good to go. So a small little work to do for a great benefit and a great return. So yeah. I don't know if there's any graphs that you want me to go back to or explain anything, but that's that. So we can discuss questions at end.
Yeah, I have some questions to ask Sarah. So who is putting the stickers on the kits?
Yes, so we have, it's myself, and then we have a couple other colleagues that are helping to do it that are in the lab.
Okay. And then if it's not returned in that 1 week, what are you doing in terms of the reminders?
Yes, so we are still doing the 1 week, 2 week, 3 week reminders to all the patients in general. So we have kind of kept the same time frame of return reminders. It just encourages them to get it in sooner.
Mm-hmm. But it looks like based on your results, that's probably decreased the number of reminders you've had to do because more are returning it.
Yep, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I think it's just a great visual aid for the patient. And we've never, like I said before, we never had really a time frame. They all have expirations, but it's like a year out, so it's no big deal. But I think it does help, as you can see in the graph. Mm-hmm.
Have you had the situation arise, Sarah, where a patient thinks that they can't return it if they didn't return it within that week?
I haven't heard of any complaints or any concerns with that. Nobody has expressed anything. And we kind of feel like 1 week is a pretty good range for the patients, but I've still been getting kits after that 1 week and even like a month later. And so I feel like either people maybe it'd be almost a survey we'd have to do to say, have you ever not turned it in because you missed the 1 week? But I haven't heard of anything specific.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Sarah? Okay, thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you.
And I am going to stop the recording. And our next presenter is Kristen Bickett. She's going to talk about the Cologuard education that they provide to patients at the Sanford Vermillion Clinic. And I am going to share my screen with her slides.
Perfect. Like Brooke said, I'm Kristen Bickett. I'm one of the care managers here in Sanford Vermillion. We have been working on Cologuard as a way of increasing our rates for quite a while now, since I've been here, about 3.5, 4 years. So we've been kind of working on that, and a lot of our patients are now returns, working on their second time on Cologuard. So we've just found that they've repeated the process because they thought it was pretty easy the first time. So slide, Brooke. So kind of this is off of what Phil had shared, like where he could send us and how compliant our clinic is with returning kits and stuff like that. So of 236 kits that were ordered, 72% were shipped to the patient, and then of that, 62% were returned to them and processed. Next slide. So when a patient comes in and they're due for their colorectal screening, we give them all the options. They get this before they check in. So our front desk staff gives them this information. It, kind of explains what their options are, and then, go from there. They have a discussion with the provider to see what option fits them best, if they're a candidate, that kind of thing, for those. So basically they get this handout, and once they pick a Cologuard, then we move on after that. So once they say they are interested in the Cologuard, the provider can order it. We kind of have educated the staff on the ordering process, because some providers put the order in, some have their staff do it. How the patient is going to receive their kit, like what they should expect, so they can then educate the patient like when they should be getting it, that kind of thing. If the patient hasn't returned it by their next visit, we send out reminders prior to that in the mail, phone call, stuff like that. But we find that it's very beneficial to note when they do come in the clinic, if they have not returned it, to verbally like remind them, ask them if they got it, if there's a hiccup in that process at all. If they have it at home, and kind of if there's a barrier or what it is, why they haven't returned it. And then this is kind of just on the patient. We educate them on when they should receive the kit, and if they haven't received it by then, either give Exact Science a call. We give them a pamphlet with like the number and everything, or call us so if we can see if there's any issue with the order or anything like that. Kind of a quick overview on how to collect the sample. We do have like a kit here. If they had a lot of questions, we can walk them through that. And then also how to return the kit through the mail or through the delivery system to Exact Science, and like when to drop it off, all that kind of stuff. And then I guess the last thing is we do is, like we said, we send out letters and messages through our electronic system to them, just to remind them to return it. I do usually give them a little bit of time just to make sure they get it, and processing it does take a little bit, about a month or so, for them to return it and get up the results for us and everything like that before I start, messaging them too often. But then I think the real thing that has helped us a lot is the verbal reminders when they're in the clinic. It also gives them an opportunity to tell us if there's any issues they're having, what barrier they might be having, and if we can correct that for them. And then, other times if they decide I want to do the Cologuard and then they decide later they don't want to, we find them a different option and go from there. So. Anybody have any questions?
Kirsten, do you also give the patient, when they're in the clinic, the Cologuard brochure that has the return by date you can write in?
We will if a patient, a lot of patients, they're already getting a couple handouts, so they don't like more handouts, they just leave them behind. But if it's someone we think is, needs that extra step or, help, we certainly have them, and we do give them to certain patients.
Great. Any questions for Kirsten? And then I did think of one more question. Oh, now I lost it. Just a question on the slide that you showed with shipping. Is UPS the only option for shipping the Cologuard kit back to Exact Sciences?
So the return label is a UPS label, and Phil can correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's most experienced with this, but that's my understanding. I don't believe there's another, but if I'm not correct, I think Phil will check me on that, but we can certainly check. But UPS seems to be the only one.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. And it's vital that we receive the kit back within a 72-hour after the sample that's been put in a box, let's say. So
correct.
Especially for rural areas, it's important that the drop time is adhered to. And the reason why I'm saying that is, I'll give you an example. I live in a very small town in northeast South Dakota. If I don't get something to our drugstore, who's our UPS drop slot, by 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it won't be picked up by UPS until the next day. So it's really important to adhere those drop times. Most importantly, though, if there's any questions whatsoever, again, that 844 number will get you to the ability to have us schedule the pickup at the patient's home. And UPS is contracted with us to make sure that those are picked up the day that that the call goes out, so to speak.
Yeah,
So,
and
yeah.
I was just going to add that we strongly encourage they send it right away rather than waiting to get to that 72 hours. But yeah, Phil's correct in that that's the absolute deadline we need them to get it out by.
Okay. One last opportunity for questions for the 4 presenters.
And I'll just add that for those who may be curious, I know Phil talked about some resources that we have available. And obviously I've shared some resources that from a medical education standpoint with Brooke. So Phil and I will plan to set up a follow-up meeting with Brooke to sort of dive through those details in terms of resources. But feel free to, if you have any questions for us as far as what we have available, we'll work through what we have with Brooke, and I'm sure she'll disseminate to the rest of the team as well.
Definitely. Okay, well, thank you everyone for attending today, and especially thank you to our presenters for sharing their information. I hope you all have a great 4th of July. Take care.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.